On this week's episode of Pop Culture Weekly, I talk to the cast of A24's Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Then I talk to the cast of Apple TV Plus's 5 Days at Memorial. Let's go!
Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon from iHeartRadio. Your pop culture news, views, reviews, and celebrity interviews on all the movies, TV, music, and pop culture you crave weekly. Here's Kyle McMahon.
Hello. What's up? Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon from iHeartRadio. I, of course, am Kyle McMahon, and I am so glad that you are here once again, or maybe it's your first time, to hang out with me for the next half hour, and, do all things pop culture. There's so much going on right now. This week, we have an awesome show. First up, I talk with the cast of Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. You know I love everything A24 does, and this is an A24 film, and Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is no different. Absolutely love the film and loved talking to the cast. So I talked to Amandla Stenberg, Maria Bakalova, and Myha'la Herrold, and I am really stoked for you to hear this interview. Then I talk with Vera Farmiga and Sherry Jones. I absolutely love, by the way, they star in 5 Days at Memorial on Apple TV Plus, which, wow, that is an edge of your seat series from start to finish. What's insane about it is that it's true. And we'll get into that, but holy crap. So it's a great show today. First up, we're going to get into the interview with the ladies of Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Great cast. I love the cast, and these girls are so much fun. I mean, I'm saying girls are grown ass women, but girls as in girls. If you haven't seen the trailer yet or haven't seen me talk about it on social media, it's basically like this group of rich 20-somethings that hold throw a hurricane party at like one of their families' like remote estates in the middle of nowhere, and let's just say it goes very wrong, and there's all kinds of mystery and murder and all kinds of good stuff. And Pete Davidson's in it. Davidson is in it. Lee Pace, just a great cast. It's extremely smart, like whip smart. Of course, what you would expect from A24, and of course they deliver. Really whip smart film, and I really enjoyed it. And I think you will too. We always have conversations on social about all kinds of movies, but especially it seems like we all love A24, and you're going to love this one too. So let's get into it. And by the way, this cast is freaking, like I said, incredible. Let me tell you a little bit about these ladies in case you don't know. Amandla Stenberg she stars in the film. She was listed in Time's list of most influential teams in 2015 and 2016. She's won like a Teen Choice Award, NAACP awards, Critics' Choice Awards. She was in Columbiana, which I loved that movie. Then she played Rue in The Hunger Games. So this is, the kind of talent that she is. She's been in Sleepy Hollow, the series. The Hate You Give, that film was super powerful. The Darkest Minds, Dear Evan Hansen, and guess what? She's a artist too. She released a song with her folk rock duo Honeywater called "Let My Baby Stay," and it's just a super talented person. And she has a little tiny project coming up. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it's Star Wars. The Acolyte is a series that is coming to Disney Plus, and she stars in The Acolyte. So super, super talented person. I'm really happy to speak with her. And then, of course, her girls that are joining her, the extremely talented Maria Bakalova, who you may know from Borat's subsequent movie film. Loved her as what was her name? Tutar in Borat 2. Again, super talented. She's also been in The Bubble, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is what she's going to be doing next. So, just a super, super duper talent. I'm very lucky with this episode that we get all this great talent. And finally, last but not least, Myha'la Herrold. So Myha'la is kind of, I would say, a theater girl. She was in Broadway in The Book of Mormon. And I would say Bodies is probably her biggest film project to date. And she's great in it. And she's starring next in Leave the World Behind, which is a film that kind of takes place during the pandemic. And that stars Julia Roberts and Mahershala Ali and Ethan Hawke, Kevin Bacon, Charlie Evans. I mean, really crazy big film. So, these three are going places. I mean, they already are there, but they're continuing to go to further places. So in any event, enough talk about the incredible cast of Bodies. Let's get into my interview with the cast of Bodies. Thank you, ladies, for speaking with me. I really appreciate it.
For sure. Hi.
So, well, first of all, it looks like you guys are having fun, which is a great segue into my first question, which is, how fun was it to make this film?
It was so absurd and so fun in equal measure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a little bit difficult in the thick of it, in the moments where we were getting pelted with 40 mile per hour rain droplets and sticks and mud and blood and screaming and paranoia, to be like, this is fun. That was kind of hard. But retrospectively, at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, you're like, dang, this is such a cool process.
But also the absurd personas that it brought out of us. That was what made it really fun, is when you stoop that low with someone, you have no choice but to get very close.
Actually, it's super physically challenging because we were all out there, cold and covered, blood, mud, everything. And I was always thinking about that. It's been actually mortifying for us. But now I remember that it was sometime in the morning after a whole night of shootings. And I remember that I started dancing and I was deadly destroyed completely. So at some point you're somehow losing it completely, and it's you know what I mean?
Nervous, terrifying laughter.
The delirium just sets in. So for you, the three of you, do you know, and I mean, obviously this is satirical, but do you know any characters in your own lives like the characters that you've played? Minus the murder and all that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I definitely based Jordan off a version of a person I know, for sure.
Okay.
Same. I based my character of a person that I know that was so freaking private, and I was like, I want to know what's in her mind. She became a close friend of mine, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm gonna be more private in my life and in my character.
Yeah. I thought a lot about the sort of high school culture that I was around when I was younger, and how particularly at that age, especially because these characters have known each other for a while, so that felt important to me. But particularly when you're a teenager, there can be this kind of sardonic, ironic, apathetic, competitive sort of culture, particularly within privileged, groups of kids, bored kids. That's where the dangerous kind of intellectual games come from.
And did you, and again, this goes out to the three of you, did you recognize anything in yourselves through your character that kind of made you be like, you know what? I need to put my phone down more, or I need to.
We were on our phones the whole time.
We really were.
As soon as the take cut, right back on Instagram.
Okay, but it was also kind of like instant like relief. You know what I mean? It's like it snaps you back into our real world just because the set was like traumatizing. It was like, is there any like
puppies or something?
But do you remember that we were struggling with the Wi-Fi there?
We were.
That's true. It was like
the Wi-Fi was
impossible
bad.
to
Wi-Fi
get
was going
online.
out. Yeah.
And that was a little bit like, where's the crack? You know what I mean? Like, give me the Wi-Fi.
Well, yeah, that gives me anxiety just hearing that you had spotty Wi-Fi there.
Right?
Oh, for real. I don't know if this movie is about using your phone less. I think it's about using it more responsibly.
Yeah.
Okay. And would you, I mean, again, minus the, would you guys in your personal lives go to a, like a kind of fun murder mystery party out in the middle of nowhere?
I would, but not during a hurricane. I would never do that during a hurricane. I would definitely go to a murder mystery party.
I think I will go to a murder mystery party, but not in a place that is so isolated.
That's what I was going to say.
Really? Because I was going to invite you guys to come to a murder mystery party at my house at the end of a dirt road in the middle of the woods.
I would go if it was you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time like leaving my apartment as it is. I very much like to be at home. Like if y'all want to come play the murder mystery at mine, like we can do that. But getting me out is hard. But I will do it for you.
Okay.
Oh, I love that. And do you see Bodies as a obviously it's multi-genre, but it's very much in the vein, not specifically, but more broadly like a Scream, where it's a kind of satire / comedy / horror, but there's a lot of brains to it too, if that makes sense. How do you see the film?
Totally. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with you. When I first read it, I thought it was like a contemporary Scream, but I also knew that it was going to have this another layer of emotional depth because of our director, Helena. And also because so much of that depth was baked into the script already. Mm-hmm. But I love movies like that. I love like movies that invert the horror genre, or like movies that invert the structure of cinema in general, and make it meta. Like that's so cool to me.
Yeah. I love. You were just like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes to all of that. So for for you with a film like this, is it especially when it's could be very spoilerly. There could be a lot of chances for spoilers. Is it hard for you not to, like I'd be wanting to tell my boys, and I mean, and I'm sure there's like NDAs and stuff, but like, or did you have each other that you could talk about it, or were you like, I can't wait until this date where I can tell you?
Oh, I told my friends full details from the script.
My boyfriend
as soon as I read it. Yeah, I was so excited. Like I was texting people, like my closest friends. Oh my God! And there's this other part in it where they start going off on this one homegirl because of her podcast, and because I was just I thought all the details were so juicy and hilarious.
I find it hard to talk about the film like in this setting when they're like, no spoilers, but, and then they ask a question and you're like, oh, but there was this really good moment that I would love to talk about this theme, or you're like this, whatever, but I don't want to ruin so then you end up like talking circles around it. You still kind of make sense, but it will be really, really fun when we get to talk details about who's your favorite, or when this person fell off the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's going to be fun.
Spoiler alert.
No. I'm the worst.
Spoiler alert, there is persons in the film.
There are people doing
There are people doing, can't even say the things, I said it.
They actually made they just posted on the Bodies Instagram one clip today where I'm talking about a specific plot point and they're just bleeping out
Yeah.
every single
every
detail
other
that I
word.
reveal. Every other word is bleeped out. So that's how we're talking about it.
Thank you so much, ladies. I enjoyed talking with you, and I can't wait for everyone to see Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks. What I tell you, awesome ladies, so talented, so much fun, just creative people, and they were just having a ball, and it made me have a ball. So good times with the cast of Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. That's Amandla Stenberg, Maria Bakalova, and Myha'la Herrold. Loved talking to those ladies. All right, so next up is this series on Apple TV Plus. Comes out this weekend. It is called 5 Days at Memorial, and I told you at the top of the show, it is really powerful. It is really gripping. It is just one of those series that it was edge of your seat for me. And so I talk with not only the two leads, Vera Farmiga and Sherry Jones, but I also talk with Carlton Cuse, who is developed the show. He's the executive producer. He directed a bunch of the episodes. And if you don't know Carlton, if you don't know him, he's behind the scenes, right? So you may not know him, but he was named as one of Time's 100 most influential people in the world in 2010. He's a screenwriter, director, producer. He was probably, best known. His first breakout was Lost, and one of my favorite shows of all time. He's done Nash Bridges, Bates Motel, which of course also starred Vera, Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan on Amazon Prime Video, and film he did Rampage and San Andreas, both with the one and only The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. So we're going to start out with him. But just to give you some background on this film, it is powerful. Like I said, it is gripping. It is based around the events that happened at Memorial Hospital in New Orleans during and after Hurricane Katrina and the ramifications of that. And, there were deaths. There were allegations. I mean, it is pretty insane just how, this all happened. And so I highly, highly suggest you watch this series. It's on Apple TV Plus right now. Carlton Cuse, top of the top in regards to, production. And then in front of the scenes, Vera and Sherry are just incredible and top of the top as well. So let's start out with the one and only Carlton Cuse. Cuse. Thank you so much for speaking with me, Carlton. I absolutely love this series. It is incredibly powerful.
Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that.
Of course. So tell me, what drew you to this story?
I read Sherry Fink's book, 5 Days of Memorial, shortly after it was published, and was just blown away by the book. I thought I knew about Hurricane Katrina, but reading this book, I realized I didn't know anything. And Sherry spent 6 years writing this book, interviewed over 500 people to tell the story of what happened at Memorial Hospital during Katrina and the 5 days that followed. And it was a story about, one of the largest hurricanes to ever hit the United States And then the storm broke through all the levees that surrounded New Orleans. 80% of the city was underwater, and there were 2,000 people trapped in this hospital for 5 days. They lost power. They had limited food, water, medical resources, no plan for rescue. And, it sort of is a disaster thriller that morphs into a medical ethics drama as these really heroic healthcare professionals were forced to make really difficult, untenable decisions about who got prioritized, who was going to get rescued first, who was going to get what care. And the exploration of that just felt like a great subject matter for a limited series.
Yeah, it has. I mean, it is extremely powerful, and it's so deeply layered on so many levels. Not just from, as you said, it's multi-genre with kind of the disaster, environmental element, the human element, the investigation. I mean, there's so many elements to this, and it's real life, which is, kind of the sad part of it, if you will, in many ways. How, when you're approaching a show like this, obviously you had the book, but how do you kind of compartmentalize how you want to break this up over the course of an 8-episode limited series? Do you, you tell me.
Well, first of all, I had the great fortune of collaborating on the writing of the show with John Ridley, who was an Academy Award winner and just a brilliant filmmaker, a great writer, director, and an incredible human being. And we worked on this together. And one of the first things that we talked about was trying to not take a side in the telling of the story. We wanted to basically present all sides of the story and really leave it up to the audience to sort of pass their own judgment about the events that took place. And so that was sort of a fundamental decision. And also the way the book laid out and the way the narrative laid out, we really wanted to try to put the audience inside this hospital for them to really feel like, what was it like? In a book, you can read about it, but the great thing on screen is you can really show it. You can show the level of misery. You can show the hospital being flooded. You can show what it's like to try to work when there's no lights, when, it's 105 degrees. And I think that understanding the conditions is a big part of understanding the decision-making that went on in this hospital. And so we really worked hard on trying to create all that and do it in a way that was really authentic.
I think you excelled in that. For something that is should be a kind of once in a lifetime thing. As I'm watching it, I'm like, wow, that could never happen in America, and it did. And then you kind of look and see, more recently with kind of the COVID, as hospitals were getting overwhelmed and that sort of thing. Does history just continue to repeat itself, or what do you think about that?
Well, as John said to me when we were working on the story early on, history rhymes. And I think that's so true. And I think everything you're saying is right, Kyle. I mean, I think that everybody who's gone through this pandemic has a powerful personal experience with the pandemic, and they're going to bring that to the watching of this show. And there's so much resonance. And I think that it's kind of a tragedy that we're finding ourselves reliving some of the same things, and putting healthcare workers in the untenable position of having to decide who gets prioritized in, a time of shortage, who gets the vaccine, who gets the ventilator, who gets rescued by the helicopter. These are really tough and, in fact, impossible decisions. And, I hope that we could get to a place where we were, we weren't having to put people in the position of having to make those decisions.
Yeah. And hopefully, projects like this continue to remind people, as I was reminded, like, wow, this is happening today still. How do you go from, I'm a huge fan of your work. One of my absolute favorite being Lost, one of my favorite shows of all time. How do you, go and do a show like Lost, this big kind of fantastical in many ways, drama. I mean, also another multi-genre show, and then come and do a more, intimate in many ways series like this? Is it just different facets of Carlton, or is there something, you're checking off a list of, like a bucket list of things I want to do?
I think it's really just I think that my process is just finding stories that just get inside my head and then don't go away. And that was what this was. And, I'm a huge Steven Spielberg fan, and I love that Steven Spielberg can make, Jaws and then make Schindler's List. And, I respect the breadth of storytelling that he's capable of doing. And I think that this is a little bit more of a traditional and drama than I have done, but it also has the same kind of cross-genre elements as other storytelling that I've done. So, I think Lost was Damon and I always saw Lost as a science fiction epic crossed with an adventure show. And I think this is sort of a disaster thriller crossed with a medical ethics drama. And I love the explorations that come out of cross-genre storytelling. And I think it just, this was a great story, and I just wanted the opportunity to try to tell it. And then again, I had the really great fortune of working with John Ridley, who is such a beautiful dramatist and was such a wonderful storyteller. And I think all those things really helped contribute to, making this story feel authentic and real, and hopefully something that people will enjoy watching.
I absolutely think they will. I watched that, first episode, and it's interesting because much like Lost, which is one of, I think, of the, most incredible hours of, the first episode of a series, this is right up there with that, in the fact that, holy crap, 48 minutes or whatever it is, and it's just overwhelmingly powerful and grabs you in. And I think that's so important. I think that element of it is so important to continue telling the more intimate parts of the story, the tougher parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hope that people, a show that really profoundly moved me was Chernobyl, which was kind of similar. It was a disaster thriller about, oh my God, here's a nuclear power plant that's literally going to maybe melt down and in a cataclysmic fashion. But then once you get inside that story, it really becomes a lot about the politics of the Soviet system that led to a lot of the decision making that led to the disaster with the reactor. I felt like that was a really good parallel here. This is a disaster thriller. You're starting following these characters going through this gigantic class 5 hurricane. And then it just kind of winnows down into these intensely personal debates about how to take care of these patients and what, should and shouldn't be done in their best interests. And, I think it's, I hope people will kind of find themselves caught up in these characters and really care about what happens to them, and will also, find themselves debating and discussing the morality and ethics of the decision making that went on. And John and I really tried to present all sides of that, so the audience could really be in the driver's seat. And we didn't see that it was our job to do that. We wanted the audience to be able to make up their own minds about, these characters and the circumstances and what unfolded in this hospital.
Thank you, Carlton. I cannot wait for everybody to see 5 Days at Memorial. This is such an incredible, powerful series. And thank you for speaking with me.
Thanks, man. Great to see you.
You as well. Carlton Cuse. Every day in this job, thanks to you guys listening and watching the videos and supporting me on social with your conversations, you guys make my dreams come true every single day. I got to talk to Carlton Cuse. He is one of my favorite producers, directors, writers. Just love him, and I love 5 Days at Memorial. All right, well, we've got another exciting interview with both Vera Farmiga and Sherry Jones. So Sherry is, you know her. She has won 3 Primetime Emmy Awards, 2 Tony Awards, 3 Drama Desk Awards, 2 Obie Awards. She received the Laurence Olivier Award and a Screen Actors Guild nomination. And she's just incredible, and I love her in this series. She started out really in theater, and I would say a huge bulk of her career has been in theater. Eventually, she made her way to film and television, where in film, she was in The Horse Whisperer, Divine Secrets of Yaya's Sisterhood, The Perfect Storm, Signs, The Village, Ocean's 12, Days and Nights, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, Boy Erased, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, The Sky is Everywhere. And then on the television side, she has been on Frasier, The West Wing, 24 as President Allison Taylor, loved her in that, and 24 Redemption as well. She was in Black Mirror in the episode called Nosedive. Love that. She was in American Crime, The Handmaid's Tale, Defending Jacob, Secession. Just an awesome, extremely talented actor, and I love her. And then with her in this conversation, Vera Farmiga. I freaking love Vera. Of course, my favorite role of hers is as Lorraine Warren in the Conjuring films. The Conjuring 2, Annabelle Comes Home, Conjuring Devil Made Me Do It. She was also in The Manchurian Candidate, The Departed, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, Safe House, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Hawkeye. I mean, I freaking love her. Oh, and how did I forget this? Loved her as Norma Louise Bates in Bates Motel, which also earned her a Emmy Award nomination. So freaking love her. I can't wait for 40 more years of the Conjuring films. So I am excited about that. So in any event, let's get into my interview with the one and only, and I mean this for both of them, the one and onlys, Sherry Jones and Vera Farmiga. Hi, Vera and Sherry. Thank you so much for speaking with me. I absolutely love this series. It is so incredibly powerful.
Thanks,
Great.
Kyle. Yeah, good. We love doing it.
So tell me about, this is such a deeply rich narrative in so many ways, with so many layers of things going on, both on a human level as well as an environmental level. As actors, how was that for both of you to navigate sort of all of these layers that really happened?
Yeah. Well, our characters didn't have a choice, and so as actors, we didn't either. I mean, so much was being thrown at them every second of every day, every sleep-deprived, exhausting day with 110 degrees every day in that hospital, and they were having to deal with Mother Nature, human nature, the lack of any help coming, and degrading bodies of patients all around them, and trying to figure out how to save them. So it covers so many different issues, from social injustice and racial injustice in this country, inequality, and the fact that our healthcare workers are now our frontline soldiers, without the Pentagon's trillions of dollars backing them, and then once again, climate change being the number one issue that we all have to agree to make sacrifices to start to try to do something about it. But the people have to do it and elect those officials who are going to do it for us. But it has to start with us and not with our elected officials, because they are us.
Absolutely. These once in a lifetime things keep happening in my lifetime. It's kind of crazy. And Vera, for you, in my opinion, your character, Dr. Anna, is very deeply spiritual person, a bit aloof, a little bit, but very focused, hyper focused on patients. How did you approach her? With she's a deeply layered character.
She is. I mean, I look, she's a surgeon, right? All those qualities that you described, the aloofness, you have to take a step back, right? You cannot be emotional about your work. There's a task at hand. You got to fix someone. You got to heal someone. She is a woman of great faith. That was a huge component. Her relationship, there's a big spiritual component that was something really exciting for me to explore here, because I think that was very motivational for her. And that's what also, yes, it is her great skill and her focus as a doctor, her vocation, her mission to heal people, to fix people, to keep them comfortable, and to alleviate suffering. These are all, this is what she was born to do. And what she continues doing now. She still is a most excellent doctor. But I think also that spiritual component, her faith is huge part of who she is and what brought her through it. And yeah, I wanted to focus on the stamina, as she was the last doctor, one of the last doctors there standing. Both these characters were. That's a testament to their stamina and their courage, their bravery. It left her with an enormous responsibility, Anna Poe, to ensure that the patients that were going to be left behind, that were not going to be evacuated, would not suffer pain. It's incredibly complicated. And also for me in the interpretation was to really understand how those abysmal and circumstances in the hospital, that dementia, lack of sleep, and the frustration, the disgust of knowing that nobody's coming to save you. Nobody. There's no plan. There's no plan of action. There's no electricity. There's no backup generators for any of the equipment. Very little food, very little water, very little sleep. Nobody's coming to help you. Nobody. You're on your own. You're on your own. So kind of 2,000 people in that hospital to keep them all calm, to keep them, it was a lot. It was a lot. And it is just to portray all these character traits of hers was something that I focused on.
Yeah. I as a viewer, I had to remind myself this happened. You know what I mean? It was hard enough watching and thinking about all of the decisions that have to be made that there is no rule book for. And, and I had to keep reminding myself, this is real. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't just a fantasy. Like, this is something that real people had to do these things and make these decisions. And that puts a whole nother element, I think, to it, to this story. For both of you, do you think, I think, in a lot of ways it helped renew my sense that people are good and human nature will almost always find a way. Do you both feel that way, especially after working so closely in a project like this? Will good always, there's always hope out there for good humans?
Well, as we know what Mr. Rogers said, what Mr. Rogers' mother said, in times of dire distress, look for the helpers. And I do believe that goodness prevails, but those who are weak and frightened get in the way and make goodness more difficult to accomplish. Fearful people are the most dangerous people on earth, in a way. And I think parents who are able to help their children have a healthy sense of fear of things in this world are marvelous parents, because we have to have fear. It preserves us. But once it gets out of hand, it's a detriment to society. And I think we see that in our society today.
Mhm.
And I'll stop there.
I agree, Sherry. And I do think, I think, look, I think it's almost a call, to each of us individually can work more on our own compassion and loving kindness. How can I, how can you, how can we all just be the light in this present darkness? It starts with us. It starts on an individual basis, and that's to me, the great power of this parable, in a way that it's encouraging us. I mean, and it's using doctors, nurses, and healthcare workers.
And see, you just took my bleaker statement and you made it lighter. And that's exactly what I mean. God bless you. That's as it should be, and it's true.
Yeah.
It is true, because these are dark times, and we need lightness.
Yeah,
we do. Thank you for both sharing your light, not only with me, but through telling the stories of these powerful women and men. And thank you so much for speaking with me. I can't wait for everybody to see this.
Oh, thank you, Kyle, for your encouragement.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye. Such an incredibly, oh my God, I love those two actors. I love their roles in 5 Days at Memorial. When I tell you, it's just an incredible series. I mean it. I think one of the best, pilots, hours of television ever is the pilot for Lost. The pilot for this series, for me, for 5 Days at Memorial, is just as edge of your seat, just as compelling, just as hits you right in, the gut. Such a good series. I absolutely love it. Please watch 5 Days at Memorial and then talk to me about it. Oops, I just hit something on my desk. Talk to me about it. And let me know what you think at KMacMusic on Twitter and Instagram, at Real Kyle McMahon on Facebook. Of course, we'll have the video interviews up for you to see them on video, or whatever. All right. So also, I have this show, this limited series coming out, Death, Grief, and Other Shit We Don't Discuss. It's about my mom, who passed away from pancreatic cancer last year, and I went all across the country, talking to subject matter experts on these topics that we just don't want to talk about. And, there's some really, really, really great stuff there. I went to this place up in, I guess it would be northwestern New York, like at the border of Canada, and Lilydale it's called, and spoke with some very, very incredible people there. And it's just, the trailer is now out now. I'll put it in the show notes. Please check it out. This is a absolute labor of love for me. It is the most personal project I've ever done. It's the hardest project I've ever done by far. And I really want it to help people. So it would help me if you could go and check it out and let me know what you think. You can find it on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. The trailer is out now. The series debuts on August 30th. So you can go to deathandgrief.show and listen to the trailer and let me know what you think. All right, that's the show for this week. We have Madonna. We have a very special episode next week celebrating Madonna's 50 number one hits. She has a compilation out. She has a compilation coming out called Finally Enough Love, 50 number one. So we're doing a poll where you vote for your top 10 favorite number one hits by Madonna, and then we're going to announce those results on the episode next week. And I have a guest coming that is a Madonna expert it's going to be a lot of fun. She's had a lot of freaking hits, a lot of controversy. top selling female artist in the world. There's a lot to talk about. So I'm excited for that one. All right. I will see you next week. I love you. We out.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Weekly. Hear all the latest at popcultureweekly.com.
I kiss you each morning with strawberry skies, 'cause I get so lost in your blueberry eyes. I hope you watch Bodies, 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 and I hope you watch 5 Days at Memorial. 5 Days at Memorial.